In Chile, the candidate from Apruebo Dignidad, Gabriel Boric, won the presidential runoff with over 55% of the votes in his favor. Lack of security guarantees forced signatories to Colombia's 2016 peace accords to leave the area where they had settled after the signing of agreements. The Argentine government will send 1 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to Bolivia in what will be the largest shipment between South American countries. Hi, this is From the South. I am your news anchor, Diego Martin, from the TeleSUR studios in Havana. We begin with the news. In Chile, the candidate from Apruebo Dignidad, Gabriel Boric, has been elected president of the nation with over 55% of the votes in his favor. Until now, 99.90% of the votes have been counted. Gabriel Boric leads with 55.87%, with José Antonio Cast following behind with 44.13%. These two candidates have very different government policies. On the one hand, Gabriel Boric, a 35-year-old congressman, lawyer, and former student activist running for the Apruebo Dignidad coalition, is a candidate uniting social democrat and progressive forces of the country. On the other, the far-right candidate of the Christian Social Front coalition, José Antonio Cast, a 55-year-old lawyer and former congressman who is known for his praise of the Augusto Pinochet dictatorship and opposition to abortion and LGBTQI rights. During his first speech before the Chilean people, President-elect Gabriel Boric thanked everybody involved in his campaign, including the children and members of Apruebo Dignidad coalition.
To all the technical teams that added to these campaign, political parties, Apruebo Dignidad and other coalitions and forces that have supported us. I would also like to thank someone that children that had filled our hearts with love all through this journey.
The president-elect announced a number of policies of top priority for his government.
We'll have a balanced Congress, which means an invitation and an obligation to talk. Honestly, I see this as an opportunity to get together and to achieve ample agreements that can guarantee quality of life. I trust the responsibility of all political forces of maintaining differences in the framework of ideas and put always in the forefront the well-being and to reject political violence in our society.
After the final results from the presidential elections in Chile were known, candidate José Antonio Cast congratulated his opponent Gabriel Boric on his fair victory.
The first thing I want to do is to congratulate Gabriel Boric. He deserves our respect. Many Chileans trusted him, and we hope he has a very good government. And what we can do in the midst of our differences, we want to be a contribution to the motherland. So between us and all of us, we have to bring the Chileans back together.
Also, outgoing President Sebastián Piñera congratulated Boric over his victory and wished him a successful term.
This because beyond our differences, we are all Chileans, and we all want the best for our country. Life is not easy, and to rule is very hard. So for this reason, I wish Gabriel Boric and the new government wisdom, prudence, resilience, strength, moderation. These are very important, fundamental values to be able to guide the paths of our country.
After a historic day in Chile's elections, let's hear about how the country is doing today. With us is Carlos Montero to tell us about it. Carlos, can you hear me? No lo escucho. Hi, Carlos. How's everything there? We'll be right back after this very short break. Don't go away. Hi, welcome back. As we were saying prior to the technical difficulties after a historic day in Chile's elections, we get to hear now from our correspondent how the country is doing today. We have Carlos Montero on the scene to tell us about it.
Yes, sorry for the audio problem, but why is so important where I am? Because everything is peaceful, and that's the news today. Because we were really scared to see what's going to happen after the election. It was a very divided country, went to the polls, and people went in a peaceful way. The two candidates, the one from the extreme right, the other one from a coalition of different parties from the left, they act very civilized, they accept the result. To give you an idea, the president-elect, Gabriel Boric, from this coalition, he's the president who got the most votes in the history of this country. And the second president who got the biggest vote, the biggest amount of vote, is Jose Antonio Cast, the one who lost. That means that people came to vote in this country. It's an obligation to vote. You have to vote, but usually it's not more than 50%, the people who goes to the polls. Yesterday, it was close to 60. It was something historic. So, that's nice. The democracy is working. What's going on today, besides that everything's been so peaceful, Gabriel Boric, the president-elect, is going to meet in a couple of hours with Sebastián Piñera. Sebastián Piñera, from the right, he's the president, and they're going to meet together and they're going to talk about transition. That's going to be really interesting to see what's going on because, the two of them, they don't have the best of relation. Yesterday, they talked to each other on national TV. Piñera congratulate Boric, but you can see was certain friction between the two of them. One is from the right, the other one is more to the left. But today they are going to meet and they're going to start talking about the transition. We are going to start to know who is going to be in the cabinet of Gabriel Boric. He's 35, the youngest. He's going to be 36 when take powers in the middle of March. The youngest person who's going to be in La Moneda. La Moneda is the presidential palace. And I can tell you, the country is divided, but everybody's accepting, is playing by the rules. Democracy is like this. Somebody win, the one who loses has to accept it, the result, and life goes on. So that's so far so good here in Santiago. We are going to see what's going to be in that meeting, and we are going to keep informed if there is any news coming from here. I'm going back to you to the studios.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Now we go to Colombia, where signatories to Colombia's 2016 peace accords were forced to leave the area after they had settled after the signing of agreements due to the lack of security guaranteed for them and their families. From Bogotá, our correspondent Hernan Tobar has the details.
These images show the departure of more than 30 families from the territorial space for resettlement and training areas Rondon Vereda El Yari in the municipality of La Macarena, department of Meta, to Don Sello in the department of Caqueta, where there are already 40 families who have been individually displaced. But what caused the forced displacement of these peace signatories?
This displacement is due to the fact that the government has not been able to guarantee the permanence and lives of the peace signatories in El Yari. There are 31 families, 61 people who are being displaced today.
The humanitarian caravan carrying former combatants and their families was attacked by unidentified gunmen who opened fire.
There is a truck burning and their lives and those of all other signatories who are accompanying them are at risk. We call on the international community, the social movements, the international community to defend peace, not to abandon us. Colombia and the international community cannot allow the violent to destroy Colombians' dream of peace.
A familiar situation had already occurred the previous year, when about 110 peace signatories and their families were forced to leave the territorial space of Ituango due to the presence of paramilitaries in this region of Antioquia department, to which is now added the new incident in the department of Meta.
The absence of security guarantees from the government for the signatories of the peace agreement is evident. It is important to highlight that this forced displacement is due to the lack of comprehensive implementation of the peace agreement, especially with regard to safeguarding the security of former combatants. The government does not protect them in any way and instead sponsors forced displacement.
The Presidential Counselor for Stabilization and Consolidation offered a statement on the incidents that took place in El Yari, offering a particular version of the events, and assured that the security of former combatants is a priority for the Ivan Duque government.
We were advancing in the way they chose with the support of the United Nations and the Ombudsman's office. A couple on a motorcycle attacked one of the vehicles without any consequences for any of the occupants. At this moment, the public forces, the army, and the police are accompanying them, and very shortly the transfer will be restarted with absolute security.
According to the Institute for Development and Peace Studies, so far this year 44 peace signatories have been assassinated. Since the signing of the agreements in 2016, the figure exceeds 290.
TeleSUR, Bogotá, Colombia.
Hundreds of members of the migrant caravan that departed from the southern Mexican state of Chiapas in October marched this Saturday in Mexico City to commemorate International Migrants' Day. Protesters marched along the emblematic Reforma Avenue in the center of the Mexican capital, carrying banners with slogans such as "Migrating is not a crime, nobody is illegal," "Down with the walls and the borders," and "The LGBTIQ community also migrates, seeking respect and freedom." The demonstrators rallied outside the U.S. Embassy in the city to demand respect for their rights. So far, this caravan has traveled more than 1,600 kilometers through Mexican territory, seeking to reach the United States, where its members hope to improve their living conditions. Along the way, the numbers of people making up the caravan have fallen, as many have accepted the Mexican government's offers to grant humanitarian visas and provide employment opportunities.
I feel different because even though the people who died have been members of our caravan, we all came together as a family. It is hard. It is not easy to come and be here on a day like this, to see so many people dying because the government of Guatemala does not want to give us a chance to better ourselves and move forward. We feel very proud. We are also human and we all respect each other. We respect each other. We are migrant brothers and sisters. We are from the community and they support us and we support them.
This Saturday, the population of the Argentine province of Chubut held a huge demonstration to demand the repeal of a law authorizing a mega mining project in the area, approved last Wednesday by the provincial legislature. In the provincial capital of the Patagonian province, Rawson, police mobilized to repress the local population in the evening hours. Saturday was the fourth consecutive day of demonstrations against the project, which residents argue pose a major threat to the local environment, including to crucial water sources. Protesters have stressed they will continue to mobilize under the law, which, as enacted by Friday by Governor Mariano Arcioni, is repealed. Leaders of the three unions linked to the fishing sector of the province of Chubut announced a strike at the ports of Rawson and Madrid until the government repeals the mega mining project law. The move accompanies the decision of other state sector unions to take strike action.
We stand for the struggle that the Chubutense people is bringing against mega mining. We are also in total disagreement with the withdrawal of mega mining because it is a problem that will affect us. We have come to offer our support as a union, and we are present here as well as the other state unions that are here.
In this context, Nora Cortiñas, human rights activist and leader of the Mothers of the Plaza de Mayo, expressed her solidarity with the people of Chubut against the mining project.
The mothers condemn all repression against the people of Chubut and defend the people on the land, saying no to mega mining. We want the water for us. Water is more valuable than gold. We continue to support the people of Chubut, and we tell Arcioni to stop repressing the social protests being carried out over these past days.
We've come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at TeleSUR English. You can also follow us on social media for all the latest news. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I'm Dio Martin. Thanks for watching.